There's no beer left in that bottle.
Dang. I'm going to get me another.
Damn.
Welcome to the Genre Cult Podcast. Discussions and opinions on obscure electronic music micro-genres. Today they will probably discuss something that is not even a thing. We in here. Yeah, boy.
Welcome back again. More genre for your face.
All the genres.
Well, just one actually.
Oh.
Am
I on the wrong show?
Yeah, no, sorry, mate. You meant the all genres podcast.
Ah, those guys.
Totally
they're
different,
always cramping our style.
This is straight up the worst intro we've ever done.
I think so.
I'm sorry, people.
Genre Cult Podcast. I am Alex.
I am Eugene.
And
Forget me own name.
One.
I didn't know if we were doing aliases or if we're just guys.
Yeah, no, I think
we've always been guys. Now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But that's kind of cool now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to be your own,
yourself.
DJ.
It's like Mark Pritchard, man.
Exactly, yeah.
He went through all the aliases.
He did.
So this month we have the
Grimbles, as we colloquially have coined it between the two of us and no one else.
Yeah. Grime.
Yeah.
Which this is kind of our selfish month almost.
Is it?
I
maybe
guess. Mine.
No, it's pretty self-indulgent. It's like,
yeah.
Look, it's going to be easy.
Let's do this one because we're really feeling all of this music at the moment. And I was like, yeah, good.
Yeah, that's probably a good enough reason.
So, yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this show, I feel like you might already know what grime is.
True. If not, we've got a little thing that we do.
For those who don't, I guess do a stumble through an explanation.
Explain your mom.
Hello?
Hi.
Who is that?
It's me. It's Eugene.
Oh, hi. It says blocked, so where are you?
I'm calling on Skype
Oh, okay.
because I'm doing the recording for the show thing. I've got to explain grime to you.
Oh.
So grime music. Have you heard of it?
Grime?
Yeah, grime.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it kind of happened out of UK garage or like speed garage, kind of like from pirate radio stations in the UK. It was a bit of a thing. And so,
what era?
Man, you're testing me now. I don't even know. Kind of like 90s, mid 90s to like 2000. It was kind of like happening like at this. Yeah, it kind of got really popular like 2001, 2002, I reckon. Yeah, and like, there's some big artists now doing grime stuff and it's coming back around, but it's that real like two-step style, kind of like, that drum and bass that you used to like as well.
Yep.
So it's got like a swung tempo kind of a thing as well going on. So that like...
Which tempo?
And you know how you have like a swung tempo and it's kind of like not on beat, so it sounds a bit wonky? Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of what it's like. Does that even make any sense?
Yeah, kind of. No vocals?
Oh, no, vocals are a big thing. No, good point. See, you're onto it. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So, yeah, it's like more like rap than anything else. They have MCs are a big thing. In
What's the big thing?
MC, like master of ceremonies, but like, like a rapper or an MC.
All right, so definitely lots of vocals.
Yeah, heaps of vocal. Very urban style. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So we better get onto it then. Does that make any sense? No.
Does it have a fashion following?
Probably, but I wouldn't say that it's like particularly unique. I'd just say like it's kind of a streetwear aesthetic.
Okay.
More than anything else, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll have to look into that and confirm. All right, I'll send you some grime, Mum.
Okay.
Okay. See ya.
So what do you want me to do now?
No, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go and record the show.
Oh, you're going to record the show.
Yeah.
So I don't need to. What do I need to do?
That's it. You did it.
Oh, I've done it. It's all over.
It's all over.
Oh.
I'm probably gonna leave all of this in as well, though.
What? It's really hard. You sound as if you're underwater.
Oh, okay. No, that's just because I'm underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, I'll talk to you later, Mum.
Snorkel. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Are you a Satanist? Are you involved in some kind of cult?
I'm in every cult that exists.
Don't tell Mum that though. She wouldn't. I don't know how she'd react to that. Just one cult, Mum.
A cult.
Just this one. But we're the leaders of the cult.
Yeah.
So
I guess so.
That's like,
Head-
look, your little
head
boy's grown
priests?
up. He's successful.
Is that
He's
a thing?
running a popular cult. Oh.
Do we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need for it to be a proper cult? Is there like? Does there need to be?
Kool-Aid? Oh.
Ooh.
Too soon. I think that's always going to be too soon. Oh. No. Does it need to be a what?
Does there like need to be people that
follow?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I was just following you. Were you just following me?
I think
you
so.
idiot. What? We should probably give up now.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey,
So
you interviewed some people.
I did.
Yes.
Those interviews will happen. There's one from Strict Face, and hopefully one from.
Could we just do one of those bits where we insert like computer voice here of our next guest, who is
our next guest is
DJ Sir Spyro from Rinse FM.
excellent.
So they're going to be really
guest.
good.
They'll be amazing. Yeah.
But I guess enough of this. We'll play some grime because
Grimbles.
grime blees. We all know that grime is pretty much about angry young kids, right?
That's it. And angry young kids need to get fed.
Some fried chicken in town. E16 that is. Junior special. £1.50. Junior Spesh. Junior Spesh. Junior Spesh. Junior Spesh. Junior Spesh we do. You don't do. Junior Spesh we do. Yeah. It's Junior Spesh. Yeah. And it's Junior Spesh. Junior. Yeah. And it's Junior Spesh. £1.50. 50 pence. 50 pence. B&A's is 20 pence. More. It's me, that's all. Junior Spesh, 7 up 5 legs. Make sure you give me mayonnaise on the left. Ain't got 7 up, then I want Dr. Pepper. Ain't got what I want, then I go HF. Feeling rich and I go KF. If it's Jack Sword, then he wants side breast. Make sure you give me taste fork, salt, pep. Next. Junior Spesh.
150.
With a bite or a side breast.
£2.
How much is the rest?
I don't know.
Or mayonnaise on the left.
20 pence.
Chicken in the bun.
160.
Or a 7 up.
50 pence.
Or I might want Dr. Pep.
I don't know.
Hey, give me my Junior
Thank you,
Spesh. It's Junior Spesh. Yeah, and it's Junior Spesh. Junior. Yeah, and it's Junior Spesh. £1.50. 50 pence. B&A's is 20 pence. More. It's me, that's all.
I go SF, get a Junior Spesh. 150 ring and chips, no bread.
Oh, the Junior Spesh.
Mayo, it's a little bit extra. It's
150.
I think it was like 30 pence. I don't know. That seems like a bit of a rort to me. But yeah, grime. It's about fried foods and deals. Basically, that's what you should take away from that. Fried food deals. Combination deals. Junior ones.
Combo. always get the combo.
Yeah, so that's red hot entertainment.
With Junior Spesh. So yes, I mean really.
We just wanted to play that.
We just want to play that track. Eugene
I
specifically.
Yeah. Don't worry. That shout outs to Chris. You'll like that one.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
Straight up, it is grime.
It is straight up grime. And I mean, there's a few things you'll hear in it, and that's the like, as Eugene previously mentioned, the kind of angular rhythms and things like that. But then you've got the square waves that seem to always come back, like square wave bass lines.
And that LFO, dubstep style LFO.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's exactly it. Like, grime was pre-dubstep. It was pretty much dubstep before dubstep was around. And so many grime kind of producers kind of went on to doing dubstep-esque things. But early 2000s, Wiley, who went on to perform such hits as "Wearin' My Rolex." had humble beginnings, and he produced his own tracks, and one of them, which kind of, I don't know, it ended up in my mind that there was a couple of instrumentals he did that just like set the tone for a certain style of grime, and he called himself Esky Boy for a lot of things, and had that whole Esky grime flavor that he talked about, which is kind of like icy something. But anyway,
a lot of people saying that he was kind of like coining the term as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had the whole What You Call It track, but even in that, he kind of talked about Esky a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, it is Esky its own thing, but I mean, it's all grime, I guess. But this kind of Esky flavor, if you will, is something that's really specific. So Ice Rink, this track the instrumental is quite ridiculous actually, but you'll hear why it's kind of called Ice Rink. Here we go.
I see.
That little bloop bloop click, also referred to as the Esky click by many.
Is that a thing? I don't think I've heard that in...
Yeah, so there's a track called Esky click, and heaps of grime tracks emulate that kind of little click.
Can't believe I missed it. Now I'll be paying attention for it now.
Yeah, and I mean you can still hear it now, and I at first listen you can almost think it's just the like Mario fireball sound.
But it's not quite,
and I went and did a little side-by-side comparison. I'm like, no, it's not even that pitched up. It's something different. And according to Grime forums, it's like a preset on a Proteus 2500 synth or something.
Oh, weird.
The Jungle Club like preset. Apparently, and like I was trying to find then like what that sounds like to see if their claims are normal. And yeah, Zombie's done a track with some Esky clicks that someone on Twitter was like, oh, how do you get those like icy clicks?
Icy click.
on Twitter. He replies, with a Korg Triton, you... I'm trying to remember the exact wording. It was something like, with a Korg Triton, you amateur little prick or something like that. Cause Zombie.
Cause yeah, he's good. He's a good guy. That guy.
He's a good Twitter guy.
Quality stand-up
Quality
individual.
Twitter. Yeah. So yeah, that was Wiley, and obviously like he was producing those instrumentals purely to rap over, but yeah, you'll kind of hear a lot of the stuff. I'm effectively going to be playing just a whole bunch of instrumentals because to lead into what kind of people are doing now. But first, I think we'll play one more instrumental from kind of the early days. So that was around 2001. And this other one is a Ruff Sqwad instrumental, which was kind of a big rap posse. it's called Functions on the Low, and it's kind of like a grime classic, but it's just like, it's so simple, and it uses a classic kind of thing of, I don't know, almost like airy synth, or like those slow attacks.
Like you say, the simple thing, right? Because in doing a little bit of research, they talk about 8-bar as an alternate name as well.
Yeah.
For Esky beat as well that was happening.
Yeah.
And it's like that being the idea of like a rhythmic 8-bar repetition of the phrasing of the track.
Exactly.
So keeping it super simple.
And so the rappers have a place to kind of fit. They know that like at an 8-bar structure, there's either going to be a switch up after 8 bars,
or a drop,
something
or a
drops out.
All of your transitional periods happen at that 8-bar interval.
Yeah,
and you'll hear that out, or you can have your other fucking MC tag in. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
It does, and I mean, I guess it is that thing of it ends up, the instrumentals just end up having a couple of these simple motifs that come back and get repeated, and somehow listening to them just as an instrumental, it's something I hadn't done before and just have been getting lost in. But yeah, this is Functions on the Low by Ruff Sqwad.
Yeah.
Yep.
That slow attack.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's like, yeah, if it's not a solid, like, rough square wave kind of synth, it's something that's got that soft attack. So it's like, a little bit. which I guess is something that, dubstep ended up taking to extremes in some ways. But yeah, another thing that track has is that kind of pentatonic scale, kind of oriental feel, if you will, which comes through a lot. And actually, Code 9 from Hyperdub did a mix in 2005 or something that was called Sino Grime.
Yeah, I didn't hear it.
Sino Grime or something, which I don't know in relation to Singapore. I'm not. Sine waves, Grime, but it was basically all like Asian influence,
right,
kung fu influence, and that's what like a lot of these guys were just like UK kids using like the most basic kind of sequences. There's lots of people that say like that first grime track, Pulse X by Musical Mob or whatever, which we'll link to. It was apparently all made in Rebirth, the propeller head program, probably pirated, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Did anyone buy that?
Yeah.
No, I heard they made money off that.
Yeah, maybe they did.
Yeah.
To make Reason, actually.
Well,
but anyway,
enough to quit making albums, apparently.
Yeah.
Bastards. Made that one album that was really good and then no more.
But yeah, anyway, there was that, and I guess it's that whole thing that a lot of it has this, like, even though it's real tough music, it's also got this like teenage kid cartoony slash kung fu slash like
there's definitely like a
naivete
to the songwriting process,
like, and almost a sense of humor in some
definitely
I mean Juniour Spesh, for example. But even like when we get to some of this newer stuff, even though it's like serious and good production, it's still like when they do like little head nods to things and stuff like that, like it's not the serious of musics.
There's definitely always the tongue firmly planted in the cheek.
Yes. But what I might do now is just play two back-to-backs of something, which is while Wiley was doing these instrumentals, he was releasing like white labels of the track plus the instrumental, and then on a couple of them he was also doing what he originally referred to as the Devil's Mix, which
now this is interesting. I'm well into the idea now. Okay. We'll talk about it a little bit.
We'll talk about it a little bit, and then I'll play some, and we might talk about it a little bit more. But effectively, the whole concept was just dropping out everything but the like bass and synths. So the rhythmic track,
mostly
gone.
all of the percussion.
Yeah.
Because I mean, once you take away that, there's not much else left.
Yeah, and so that's like, and so the acapella would often be on the white labels as well. So it meant that grime MCs could rap over things, and then I guess this was almost partly a DJ tool. But then he also said that he called it a Devil's Mix because like he just felt once he took all those elements out, things like sounded really evil and ominous. Because all of it does have that kind of slightly aggressive vibe, but I guess once it doesn't have the percussion driving it, it just becomes like eerie,
gloomy,
and weird.
Sparse.
I'll play the Firefly Devil's Mix, followed by another Devil's Mix, and then we'll talk some more.
Low.
Yeah.
He's all up in there getting rid of your
devil
percussion.
Yeah.
The devil's not into beats.
Yeah, but there was a really cool interview actually with, I don't know, it was like before they were Hyperdub or something, that Wiley got interviewed and they were talking about devil's mixes, and he was like, I don't call them that anymore, and got like all weird about it.
Wow.
Apparently.
Okay, that's weird.
Because, yeah, he's like, I mean, I could have called them anything, but like after I started releasing devil's mixes, like I started getting really bad luck. So
oh no, that's
he
awesome.
was like, hexed myself with the
bro,
devil mix.
Don't be hexing yourself. Come on. Look, if anything, Devil's going to be like appreciating some good beats.
He's like, I should have just called them God's mixes
Oh,
or something.
no.
He's like, I don't even believe in the devil. Yeah, so cool. So yeah, they'll either be labeled as Devil's Mix or Bass Mix, depending on which era you pull it from. If it's post him having some kind of breakdown about
some weird religious experience.
Yeah, they're not Devil's Mixes.
No, I'm well into the idea of calling it a Devil's Mix.
Yeah, me too. It's good. And the next track I'm gonna play is from a guy called Logos, who is quoted as talking about devil's mixes as like something that, it was something that was a throwaway almost in the grime scene. Like no one took that much notice of it, but it's definitely something that he said he drew inspiration from in a way in making like tracks that are really sparse effectively. And so, yeah,
I wonder if you can just write... I mean, I know it sounds like a stupid question, but I wonder if it's as effective to set out to write a track in that style, or if you just write a grime track and then get rid of the percussion.
Yeah.
Better.
Oh, I actually talked to Strict Face, which we'll have that interview probably it's coming up really soon. I talked to him about that fact, and he's like,
no, man. He's like, nah, just...
Yeah, because I was like,
always.
it almost sounds like that's what you did.
Yeah.
But
No.
He yeah.
Shut you down on that one.
But
that was such a stupid question, mate. Oh shit, this is my question.
Let's listen to this Logos track. And for many people, this is from an EP called the Kowloon EP, and for many people it was kind of like, I'm pretty sure it was like 2012 or like mid 2012, and it's when a lot of people started kind of paying a bit more attention to instrumental grime, I think, on the wider circuits. So
I definitely feel like it's been coming up. Well, I don't know, here is all I can speak for. Being Melbourne, Australia. But yeah, a lot of people have been kind of trying to convince me that grime was going to be a thing again.
Yeah.
For the last maybe year or two, I think. But yeah, it's definitely it's kind of hit a peak again. Everyone's like, oh man, grime's where it's at. Quick, invest all your money in grime. It was house 3 months ago.
It was.
It's all grime now.
Yeah, I think it is.
Disclosure ruined it for everyone.
But yes, this is a Logos track, and you'll hear the space, the elements of space.
Disclosure's moving on to grime, aren't they?
Oh, probably.
They are, mate. They're doing the whole garage thing. Yeah. Boom, boom. That's pretty awesome.
That devil.
Damn.
He's somewhere in that.
Yeah.
I reckon that's as much. So yeah, I think you kind of get the idea from that very, very quickly jumping from the like Wiley era esky stuff to like Logos and his weird future minimal blur.
You're not wrong. This is like totally self-indulgent. We just ignored most of grime.
Oh yeah, totally. Like this is I already like when I started doing it, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make this about
the
now
grime we like.
Yeah, and like where grime is and kind of where it's going, because I don't know, I didn't realize how many producers are doing stuff like this at the moment.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying before with the disclosure thing. Even though that was a bit of a joke, they started out as like garage and shit like that. But it's very much in vogue now. Like all the future producers are kind of looking to that as their muse to try and springboard off and create something else.
Yeah, well, and I think there's something in that I don't know. There's not many other things that are as open to experimentation and stuff like that as it is.
I also just think like it's a rhythmic thing. Like it's just like hopping from like, oh, this is a 4/4 beat, so I guess this genre's doing that pretty well, so let's use that as inspiration. And then it's like, okay, everyone's real sick of that now. What else we got? About this tempo and swung is pretty good. What's happening there? Oh yeah, grime. So, but hey, it's good.
It is good.
It is good.
So yeah, talking of the kind of newer producers, guy called Strict Face from Adelaide, we had an interview with.
I know. How nice. Cheers, mate.
And so we'll have a bit of a listen to that now. Strict Face, welcome to Genre Cult.
Thanks, man. Glad to chat.
Yeah, cool. So tell us a bit about how you first kind of started getting into producing music under the name Strict Face anyway.
Well, I'd been producing on and off for a good chunk of my life. I actually started making music when I was around 10 years old, mostly as a bit of a way of battling boredom, because I was living in the Philippines at the time, so I didn't really have much to do apart from going to school and whatnot back then. So initially it was kind of a kick, and then I kind of started producing on and off in the next couple of years when I moved back to Adelaide. It wasn't really until late 2010, early 2011 that I started making music under the Strict Face name.
Yeah.
So initially the first couple of months of me producing under that alias was me pissing around and trying to figure out what to make at the time. Just me kind of getting my head around Ableton, because essentially when I started producing under the name Strickface, I'd just gotten a copy of Ableton Live. So that was me experimenting and fucking around. Yeah. And then it just kind of came together in the next couple of years, and now it's just sort of evolved into this, really.
Yeah, cool. Just out of interest, in the early days, mucking around, what software were you using?
I was using Audio Mulch at first initially, because I was a huge fan of Girl Talk at the time, so I was kind of trying to follow from his lead. And then I also messed around with Fruity Loops for a split second, and then after I got Ableton, I just kind of threw most programs to the side, because it was one of those programs where I'd gotten really into it, and none of the other programs I'd actually touched base on had mattered much, because for one reason or another, they were lacking in features that Ableton had.
Yeah.
So that was basically it, really.
It seems like there was a kind of progression of a lot of people that all kind of started following a similar kind of vein around the time, I guess. There's no single time to pinpoint it, but like Logos's Kowloon record and that kind of time, everything started to kind of come together almost.
Yeah.
And so was it that you were just listening as a fan, or were you actually part of kind of an online community where a lot of people were sharing these ideas?
I think it was a bit of both, but at the start I was definitely listening as a fan. I mean, granted, when I was making, like when I first started putting out music as Strickface, I was just really kind of throwing it out there, and I was just listening out to producers whose work I was a fan of. So it was more or less me just being really, really into stuff that, other people that were kind of in that same boat as me, people who were just starting out and whatnot were putting out. And I think the whole community affiliation came a bit later on. Like, I didn't really actually start talking to producers whose work I was a fan of until maybe late 2012, early 2013. Right.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of when things started coming together, I guess. And I started linking up with people whose stuff I had a lot of respect for, and people who I was keeping tabs on and stuff. Yeah, I mean, the whole internet, the whole online community didn't really come together until like last year anyway. So it was more or less me listening as a fan at first, and then the whole internet community part came a bit later on.
I mean, I wasn't even actually aware that you were from Adelaide when I was first like checking out the like Bust Me Gunz release with Drippin.
Yeah.
So how did that collaboration come about? Was that just purely all internet communication?
Essentially, yeah, because I'd been following Drippin stuff for a bit when I actually started making music. Like, there were a couple of tracks that I'd heard when he was starting to produce, and I was really, really into them. So I hit him up first, and we started talking for a bit, and then late 2011, early 2012, we just started like discussing the possibility of doing a track together, and then it kind of came together from that, really.
Well, I might actually play that track now, and then we'll chat a bit more.
Sick.
Come like pass me gun like nothing. Police are come like pass me gun like nothing. Police are come like police are come like
Police a come like. Police a come like. Police a come like.
Pass me gun like no. Police a come like. Pass me gun like no. Pass me gun like.
Police a come like. Police a come like.
Pass me gun like no. Police a come like.
Police a come like. Police a come like.
Pass me gun like no. Police a come like. Pass me gun like no. Police a come like.
Police a come like. Police a come like.
Pass me gun like no. Police a come like.
With the your most recent release, how did that come about? Was that just a matter of again kind of you hitting people up, or did Mr. Mitch and the whole Gobstopper thing were they basically chasing you after your previous releases?
It was, Mr. Mitch actually hit me up about that, about the tracks.
Yeah, right.
About late last year. So, it was him again. It was him more or less hitting me up and asking me if I was keen to release something on Gobstopper. And it basically just came together from there, really.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, it's so great that, producers from, I guess the whole thing with the internet is it doesn't matter that you're a guy from Adelaide. You can still, get releases out on premium kind of grime labels in the UK.
Yeah, it took me aback when Mitch asked me to release something on Gobstopper, because I'd obviously known about the label for a little bit since I was producing. Yeah. But I never really imagined anyone from that caliber would actually offer to release something of mine. So it was an honor, to say the least.
One of the things I noticed about the tracks on that release, or at least one of them, there's that whole kind of beatless vibe, which retrospectively I recently have been listening to a bunch of the Wiley's Devils mixes and things like that, where there's no drum track and it's the grime without any drums. It was is that a partial influence, or is it mainly just the whole influence of the current kind of future grime stuff?
It's a partial influence. I mean, there were other things I was listening to at the time when I kind of made that track. I was listening to a bit of ambient and new age stuff. Yeah, and obviously, I was listening to a bit of Top Two Twins and My Belated Valentine at the time as well. Yeah. So, I mean, there was an homage of sorts to those devil mixes, but it's not like an entire, it's not the entire basis for that track.
like really the vibe of a lot of the things that are coming out with a lot of these producers has this real kind of aesthetic more than anything else. Like it's got this kind of sound or vibe that comes from it that I guess in a lot of ways emulates the kind of iciness that you get from the early Esky stuff.
Yeah.
And there's that kind of thing of trying to emulate like coldness or iciness in sound. And is that something that you think about when you're producing? Like, are you ever trying?
No, not really. I mean, if anything, I only really take influence from the experimentation of grime. Back when a lot of early grime producers and MCs were a lot more willing to jump on the most absurd, most weirdest stuff that was floating around out there. I mean, obviously you could hear it in a lot of Wiley stuff, but guys like the Black Ops crew and like Da Vinci would just like sort of, I mean, obviously Da Vinci had a bit of a really accessible edge, but even his most accessible stuff had this really weird bent to it that you couldn't hear in a lot of commercial urban or even pop production at the time.
Yeah.
And obviously that kind of stems from a lot of what Timbaland was doing in the 90s with his Aaliyah and Missy Elliott productions. I mean, I don't really take much of an influence from that whole aesthetic. I mean, if anything, I only really look at how experimental a lot of producers were at the time. The first kind of grime movement actually started popping, and how willing they were to actually push those boundaries from what was already existing, and them taking influences from a lot of disparate kind of musicians and genres to make this whole kind of cohesive whole.
Yeah. You took part in the war dub thing that was happening last year?
Trinity's war dub. Yeah.
So do you think, I mean, there was already a rise of producers, but do you think that was something that almost brought a lot of producers out and also like kind of reinvigorated grime instrumentals in a way?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think grime instrumentals were ever stale. Like, the grime scene never really died between, say, 2004 and 2009. Like, there was still a lot of stuff happening. Yeah. But I think the whole war dub thing that Trinity did, I think it did kind of contribute to producers coming out of the woodwork, I guess. Like, just in terms of new producers.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, I guess it kind of did have a small part in it. I mean, I'm not going to comment too much on it. But I have a feeling it did sort of get levels up, I think. That's what I'll say, really.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And I mean, I guess that whole kind of, I mean, it like, from me not knowing, has that kind of competitive nature of jamming off other people's tracks and stuff always existed in the grime scene, or was that
there's always been a sense of friendly competition. I mean, the whole intent of, I mean, the war dub thing that Trinity did, that wasn't really done with any sort of like negative.
Oh, definitely.
Like negative like influence at all. Like, it was basically him putting together like these producers that he had a lot of respect for, and people that, you know, these up and coming producers that he was really, really into, and just sort of pitting them against each other, just to sort of, you know, try and get the levels running up a bit, and, you know, just sort of trying to actually get this healthy kind of competition going, because a lot of the producers that took part in that actually knew of each other's work before that happened. I mean, I definitely recognize a good chunk of the producers that took part and actually have a lot of respect and love for those dudes. I mean,
So
when I clashed against Sqwad, like, I actually knew who he was, not long before, but like a bit before Trinity asked us to, actually put us against each other. So it was really done out of anything. I mean, even
definitely.
the early grime war dubs were more or less just sort of done as a bit of friendly competition, just to see how the rival would respond. But it never really went beyond the friendly ribbing, if anything. I mean, I don't think a lot of people I don't think a lot of producers in grime would take it to, West Coast, East Coast, US rap rivalry territory, if anything.
Yeah,
I mean, we all have a lot of love and respect for each other's music, if anything. Well, that's what I've observed anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely what it seems, and it seems like most of it is literally just kind of almost just pushing the boundaries of what would be considered grime in a lot of cases as well. Like, for someone to one-up someone else, almost one of the only ways to do it is to do something really unexpected. Like when one producer that I knew clashed with someone else that I didn't know, it was kind of like, who is that guy? And kind of end up chasing them up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there are a few names I didn't recognize at first. Like College Hill, he clashed with Fidelity, who's like one of my favorite Australian producers of all, ever since I actually started making music. And after that clash, I sort of got turned on to his stuff. Like, he hit me up not long after the war dust happened, and he's been one of those producers I've really been into since, because the stuff he's made has been pretty ridiculous. It's been insane.
Yeah, right. I'll have to check it out. Cool. Well, yeah, again, thank you so much.
No problem, man. It's a pleasure.
Anybody tryna wild out, I'ma come true.
Bonus stage.
Good. So yeah, that was an interview with Strickface coming out with a track that it's a little bit rude. It's called Strickface is a Right Dick.
No.
Come on now.
No, he's not.
But
come on.
We all know it was all in jest.
Yes, true.
War dubs. So yeah, as I kind of mentioned briefly in the interview, the war dubs was kind of a thing that happened mid 2013, where a guy called Bless Beats, who actually wrote the beat for Wiley's something wearing my Rolex, that track. So yeah, that guy did a war dub, which I mean, I don't even think we need to change the volume on mics or anything.
Them look at some boy, them a skylark up. Anybody
have a
touching
quick
they walk
listen
get
there.
slaughter. Me and my crew run the place and the city and the blood clot border. Them look at boy can't come test me and the blood clot father. Anybody touching they walk get slaughter.
Yeah, that's, you get the idea. So he did that, tweeted at a bunch of people. Suddenly it blew up. So there was a lot of the original guys like Wiley, Jammer, Predator. I mean, he's not one of the original guys, but basically heaps of the current grime producers who are making instrumentals for some of the big grime MCs all suddenly got involved, and within 24 hours there was tons of these really short war dub tracks, and people were kind of releasing them saying blah, calling for a particular producer, and then that producer would have to either come up with a response or whatever. And SoundCloud ended up becoming pretty full of all sorts of stuff that people were calling grime. And Wiley had something kind of to say about that a little bit by doing a war dub that he entitled "This Ain't a Trap War." And I've listened to a bunch of them, and there's a bunch of tracks that are war dub, and you listen to it, and it's so trap. It's like them triplet hi-hats, and then it might have maybe a slightly grime synth, like square wave something, but like in terms of it's like, and it suddenly makes you realize when you hear one of those tracks, like how much grime has going for it in terms of its like rhythmic intensity and stuff. Like trap is so laid back and like cruisy almost. Like the hi-hats is where everything's happening in trap almost.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, grime just has this crazy like kick snare battle that constantly happens almost.
Yeah, I feel like you can make more than just the hat section hype in grime.
Yeah. And
it's more versatile. Let's just say that.
And well, see, I don't know what it is, and maybe I will get bored of grime, but there's somehow less stringent kind of genre rules or structures that mean that the tracks can end up being interesting within themselves, whereas trap really ended up hitting this kind of repeating itself cycle. And I guess that's
same fate as dubstep, right?
Yeah.
And let's not beat around the bush. It's you, America. Fuck you. It's you and your EDM renaissance, whatever the fuck you're calling it.
Yeah,
just stop.
There was
stop.
a pretty good interview that some of the people sampled for their war dubs. That was like someone trying to explain to Waka Flocka like what grime is, and they're like,
"This is grime.
This is grime, mate.
This is
grime."
fucking
And then in the war dub, like because the track they were playing was effectively like a British trap.
Yeah,
track,
sure,
and then it just follows with a sample that's just like no way, and like goes into the syncopated.
That's excellent.
I'll try and link that track. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I heard it earlier today. But yeah, let's listen to this Wiley track called "This Ain't a Trap War." Full grime flavor in this.
That arpeggio is awesome.
You get the idea. Yeah. It's actually a really cool track. And Wiley actually released a mixtape that he, spits some verses over that track, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I guess listening to that, I was finally like, grime is kind of coming in and talking back to trap in a way. Just being like, come on now.
Yeah, well, I think it's probably a reaction to that, culture vulture thing of producers just hustling to find a new sound to exploit and, kill with repetition.
And I guess I'm just hoping that the thing with grime, the fact that what draws so many people to it is the layers of experimentation and stuff that can happen within it will keep it kind of fresh.
It won't matter anyway. I think we're as we all come to learn, anything with any real substance will stick around anyway.
Yeah, that's totally true.
I don't know how much like of a trap renaissance we'll see, and how much post trap we'll be hearing.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, it's almost like it's like this whole grime thing's making 140, and effectively that means dubstep okay again.
Yeah,
in a way, like, you know, it's no one's saying it, but like it's dubstep without the wubs almost.
Yeah,
like it's
true.
so close to that.
I think the lyrical content as well, like it'll be interesting to see club wise at the moment, like what'll be good, like what'll be played out. Will it be just instrumentals, or will it be like full vocal tracks with the acapella that really play out in the clubs here anyway, because that's normally a pretty good barometer for me as what's going on. But I don't know. Interesting.
It is. But
that was the first casualty in like, trap actually coming back for a new kind of take on it recently. It's like all of the vocal element just got dropped out.
Yeah,
and then it became
that's very
like,
true.
Hype as fuck club music.
a lot of
they
these
tried to bring the vocal back in.
UK guys, like they started. There was a club night started in London with Logos and Merlot, and I'm trying to remember all the others, but basically a whole bunch of these guys to purely play instrumental grime. And I guess the idea is to push that whole kind of sound forward.
But the MC culture is like so intrinsically linked with it.
Yeah,
in the UK anyway.
In the UK it is, but then at the same time, I don't know. It's almost a bit of both. We'll definitely play a When track after this one because he actually works with the MCs and stuff as well. But this is Visionist, track called Snakes, which actually Jake has said is pretty much in his opinion, the epitome of like the future grime sound.
Fair, I can see where he's coming from already.
It's got pretty much all the elements. So have a listen.
Pretty future.
Yeah, Visionist.
Metallic synthy.
Yeah, which is all kind of part of what I was going to kind of segue into is like a bunch of, I guess what ended up happening with grime as well is, grime itself ended up doing all the weird things like Dizzy Rascal and Wiley kind of going into the pop realms.
Yep.
And like all that stuff happened. And the grime producers and the grime scene kind of kept happening, but you also started seeing the like underground electronic music scene occasionally like borrow ideas from it. And one of the kind of labels that did that the most, I think, would have been Night Slugs, which I didn't really realize until kind of listening to all this stuff in context. And a lot of the stuff they were doing is kind of like house influenced, but using grime sound palettes.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like especially like Girl Unit. Is that even his name?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Club Res and all those tracks.
Like
real, all that like zaps for hi-hats and all that stuff is real. Like even when you start talking about future producers like Singe and Hawk and all those guys, there's a real almost grime aesthetic in a lot of the sound.
Yeah, you're right. Now that you say it, I think like the sound design certainly for individual percussion hits and all of that kind of stuff.
Definitely is something that's like all that esky beat style stuff.
Well, it's like how glitch became, a bit of a thing to pilfer like percussive elements from a while ago, and you started hearing like glitch elements in a whole lot of tracks, and it was like, oh, this isn't really glitch because it's not doing all the rhythmic stuff that glitch does. But you've taken all the one shots and you're just peppering them throughout your track to make it sound more future.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I guess so Night Slugs and Fade to Mind both, and there's actually been a release recently called Icy Lake, which is like this old kind of Vogue house track, which we'll get to talking about that stuff at one point. But basically it uses those esky clicks as well. Like it uses those bloop, 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 bloop. And this was like in 98 or something before.
They're like little percussion memes.
Yeah, they are.
Love it.
See, that was happening in 98 before like Wiley and the grime scene had really kicked off. And both Fade to Mind, there's a cool little short doco about that track, which isn't fully released yet, and we'll definitely talk about it more, and I'll post that little doco. But it's effectively this like track that's got the weirdest kind of elements, and the Fade to Mind and Night Slugs guys all agree that they kind of got a lot of their inspiration from it.
Right.
And it's such a weird thing when you hear this track. It sounds so crazily like futuristic like their stuff, but it was just this kind of throwaway house track from like the kind of ballroom Vogue days. So I'll definitely link up that documentary and that Icy Lake EP that's got released by both Night Slugs and Fade to Mind. It's got like a Rashad remix, the last Rashad official track that ever got released.
Is it really?
Effectively? Yeah, like before his death.
Yeah. Has no one else come out yet and been like, I've got this one?
No, so there's lots of stuff that's going to be released.
Yeah.
That's like unreleased, but this was the first one. Wiley was still alive that like had his name attached to it. Which is crazy. I listened to it recently with that in mind, and because it's like such a weirdly creepy track, it's kind of like, I'm not sure how it feels.
Oh dear.
All the feels. But let's listen to this. This is Bok Bok with a track called Silo Pass from Night Slugs, and it's so grime in so many ways. I
completely forgot about Bok Bok. God damn. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's hear.
Let's do it.
let's get. Yeah, cards, come, let's get up in it. Up in the headphones. This one. Up in it. Up in the headphones. Yeah, cards, come, let's get lively. Up in it. Up in the headphones. This one's all out of beat though.
Are you ready, sir?
Are you ready, bruv?
I'm always ready.
I'm already, bruv. This one's all out of beat though. Up in it. Up in the headphones. This one. Up in it. Up in the headphones. We wanna go in. No disrespect. No anti-man thing. You're putting us in. We wanna go in. No anti-man thing. I got 7 man with me. But let's do this. This one's all out of beat though. Up in it. Up in the headphones. This one. Up in it. Up in the headphones. We wanna go in. No disrespect. No anti-man thing. You're putting us in. We wanna go in. No anti-man thing.
Bruv.
Oh. Turn me up in the headphones.
This one's all out of beat though. Yeah, we were just talking about the weirdly chopped fly on the wall vocal sample.
Yeah,
that
which
definitely sounds like an outtake that was, prior to actually recording anything.
Yeah. And I think maybe it's how Wen convinced me that grime is like a thing to really pay attention to. Somehow the I don't know, the vocal that's not a classic grime a cappella, it's just something that punctuates the
everything
the little fills
else.
and here and there. It's like it's like the actual track you're listening to is the instrumental, and then the vocals are just little snippets.
Well, it
here and
becomes
there.
just another instrument, but at that point, because it's rhythmic, it's not really tonal at all. It's just some guy mumbling about getting the headphones turned up a bit so you can listen to the track that's all wonky and out of beat.
And it's so chopped
at weird points.
But it grabs you somehow so
it's
amazing.
they purposely find the transients in whatever you might use as your jump off point for a rhythmic element or whatever, and then it's bring it forward an awkward 3/4 of a measure.
And then make people wonder. So that's a track called In off Wen's Signals release, which came out this year on Key Sound, which Key Sound are the guys that also released Logos's tracks and things like that. And they're definitely kind of pushing this very cool future sound for grime. And yeah, I think it's almost like he's pulling the aesthetic the most together in terms of like there is still that MC element. There's that pirate radio. Like,
yeah, sure.
It's like the dreams of grime that was, or something.
Yeah,
in some weird future
haze. It feels throwback, but you know, it's like head kind of checking, just giving a little nod of the cap.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, this is where it all came from, but like check the twist on it.
Yeah,
this is future and dark,
and that's I guess what Logos did was just use a couple of samples here and there, like use the gunshots or the glass breaking or whatever.
Yeah,
and then like add everything.
It's just like a name check for the genre at that point. Yeah. Just to remind people like this is still grime, guys, but I'm twisting it up a bit. I like that.
I do too.
Yeah. But that album though, Signals. Damn,
goddamn.
Yeah, we should put links up to that because that definitely convinced the both of us. We're like, aha,
yeah,
grime, hey.
Now it is time for the DJ Sir Spyro interview.
Man on lockdown. Yeah. You don't know. It's real. It's UK. It's real.
This is Genre Cult, and I have Sir Spyro from Rinse FM here with me.
Yo.
So happy to actually have you here, and actually honoured to have you on our podcast. Can you remember the very first time you heard grime? Or?
The very first time I heard grime would be listening to, I'd say, Slimzy and Mac 10. They used to play. It used to be a crossing just over. Like the bass was getting a bit more like harder, and the beats were changing. And they used to play a bit of garage before. I'd say garage, but then it is what it is, isn't it? And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. At the time, was it were people referring into it as like other things like sublo or that type of thing, or was?
I mean, from the early days, people was actually referring it as garage.
Yeah, it was all just garage. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like, I mean, you had Wiley come out with that tune. What do you call it? It's because
exactly. Yeah.
I think that tune actually gave it the breathing space and its own lane. Do you know what I mean? I think that tune actually set pace for like to give it a borderline, basically, man.
Yeah. No, that does actually make sense, and so I guess that kind of answers the question. That kind of when you would have first heard people and people were starting to actually refer to it as grime.
Yeah. Even though there was little chit chats about it, saying oh yeah, they're trying to call it this and all of this.
Yeah.
Some people wasn't even happy with the name.
Oh yeah, no, I bet.
Because when you think of the word grime without putting it to music, it's not really a nice word. No. You know what I mean?
No, definitely not.
It's just a word that if you do want to actually say, if you could describe our sound, it is grimy because it is like do you know what I mean? So it does kind of make sense. But in the beginning, I guess you have to just get used to it, innit? Because in the beginning. To me, it wasn't really a nice name. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. As you're saying, like, so your first time hearing it would have been obviously pirate radio and that type of thing.
I was tuning in. I was tuning in on small radios, getting my TDK tapes out, taping. Just loads of people, man. And I got into DJing when I was like 11.
Yeah, right.
And then. So I was taping before I was 11, and it wasn't about you couldn't catch the podcast or you couldn't really listen back. It was you have to listen there and then.
Yeah.
It's like watching a program with no Sky Digital where you can't watch it back. You have to watch it there and then. If you wanted a tape, you had to tape it there and then.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So certain days you knew where you had to be.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. My Mondays was always taken up, and my Sundays, like 100%. No one bothered me on them days because I'm listening to radio.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, with you, like you were saying, you're DJing from like such a young age. Did you ever start producing when you were younger, or did that come along later on?
I started producing I don't even know how long. It's been so long. I've been producing since I was like maybe 13 or 14.
Yeah, right.
I'm like 27 now.
Yeah.
So, I started using Fruity Loops free. I don't even know what number they're on now, but I moved on to from Fruity Loops 9. No, was it Fruity Loops 9 or 8 or something? I moved on to Logic.
Yeah,
and I started to get the flow of Logic, and then I've since then I've never really looked back. So yeah.
I mean, there's lots of word that goes around about a lot of the early grime productions, or a bunch of it being made on the PlayStation TV music
100%.
creator. Yeah.
Yeah, man. DOK made these tunes on PlayStation. Terra Danger started making these tunes on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Terra Danger actually made one of his historic tunes called Creepy Crawler. Yeah. If you haven't heard it, check it out. Terra Danger Creepy Crawler. He made that on his PlayStation 1.
Sir Spyro alias. Is that in reference to the Spyro PlayStation game?
No. Do you know what? Do you know what's so funny about this? Yeah, if I tell you this story, you're gonna laugh your head off. This is the funniest thing. I was young, actually, proper young when I used to mix.
Yeah.
I used to collect records, and I used to have so much records. I used to be walking on the way to the youth centre or something, and to mix, and then I would walk a bit funny because I'm so small. I was so young with a lot of records, and it would weigh down one part of my body. So then someone goes, "Oh, you look weird, man. You look like that little purple thing." And then obviously they're talking about Spyro the Dragon.
Yeah.
And ever since, I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then someone laughed and said, "Oh, you look like that Spyro thing." And ever since then, believe me, I didn't like the name at the beginning. Believe me, but now it's just stuck on me, innit? So I put the Sir in front of the Spyro to make it seem like, I'm not really talking about the dragon, but in all honesty, that's what made me have the name.
Yeah.
Someone said I looked like I was walking like the dragon.
Yeah. That's excellent. So I guess jumping forward after the early days, how was it that you end up getting picked up by Rinse FM? Like, obviously you were DJing around a whole lot.
Yeah, man. I was on a radio station called Raw UK. It was 9,000 on the dial.
Yeah.
I was on there for a little while, and then it seemed like it wasn't really the station to be on. It was something. Wow. It's like getting a job where you know that this is not the really job that you want, but to do this, you've got to get a job in the meanwhile to carry on. So I thought of it like that. Yeah. And then I was just pestering Genius, and I was like, "Yo, man, got any shows? He's like, "Yeah, man, there's a couple. Get in touch." He got in touch with me, told me to come to a meeting, and then my first show I actually got on Rinse FM was Wednesdays, 3 to 5 in the morning.
Yeah, right.
3 to 5 a.m. And you know what? If I didn't take it, I probably wouldn't be talking to you on this right now. I wouldn't be talking to you right now. Because it's like one thing can change everything. And me taking that definitely changed the route of where I was going, man. I believe that.
And I mean, Rinse FM definitely kind of took off over the last few years. They were definitely they were seemingly onto digital and everything like that before a lot of the other kind of stations had picked it up. And definitely for, coming from not the UK, it was for a lot of us, it was our kind of little insight into what was going on there. I guess new generation pirate radio in a way.
Yeah, when I joined Rinse FM in 2005.
Yeah,
and I just couldn't get my head around it that people was texting in and saying that they was locked in America. I couldn't get my head around it. Yeah. I was thinking like, oh my god, like I didn't get this anywhere else, any other radio stations that I was on, and it's like they've jumped on that broadcasting thing from you can get on the internet.
Yeah,
way before a lot of other radios, like pirates anyway. So that was a cool thing, man, to get into.
Yeah, most definitely. So I guess one of the things that like lots of outsiders at least kind of point towards with grime is the fact that there was kind of this golden era between early 2000s, and then it kind of had this supposed end point when a lot of the kind of artists, I guess, yeah, it's hard to say exactly why they say this is the golden era from like 2000s to, I don't know, 2008 or whatever, when, you know, Dizzy and Wiley and stuff started, I guess, changing their sound, and there was all that type of thing, as well as, I mean, grime nights and things were getting shut down and all that. It like from the inside, was it ever perceived that there was kind of this lull, or was it kind of just always business as always within the scene?
Do you know what? It did feel like there was just like someone just shutting the door, man. But it's at the same time, it's like Dizzy Rascal and Wiley, they've made something for other people to now take and go, okay, we're gonna carry this on.
Yeah.
So it's just like people, if they've got it in them to come and either smashed what they've come and do, Dizzy Rascal, Wiley, Tinchy, Dirty Dogs, all of them, if it just takes for them to think, can they do it as well? And I think a lot of since people leave, I think some people actually settle for less. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when you settle for less, I mean, that's what happens, man. It's you've not the MC level right now is very high.
Yeah,
but it's never been as high as back in the day.
I guess a big thing that seemed to get publicized a lot was the fact that there was, you know, parties getting shut down, and this kind of like grime almost became a dirty word in certain places. Like, did you experience any of that type of backlash, I guess?
I did, you know, but not really a lot of it, because I used to just think to myself, like, grime becoming like a dirty word. Well, it's a dirty word before you put it towards our music.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
100%. Yeah.
Did you just set us up to fall, maybe, or?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Sometimes if you sit there for too long and think about it, it will make you turn mad. Like, 'cause it's like, it's like we didn't name this our music. You've named it our music.
Yeah. No.
You can't say grime's a dirty word when it really is a dirty word. And if you check all the other names, house, garage, there's no dirty words to that. It's just, do you know what I mean? There's nothing linking it to anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess some of the most extreme things that I'm hearing is even like the more recent. I think it was even a Just Jam show that was set up in London where Ruff Sqwad weren't able to play or something like that.
I didn't actually hear about that.
Yeah, I mean, there was something about the you know, the police were specifically shutting it down because you know that it involved Ruff Sqwad. Now I don't really have the details, but yeah, it just seems from me that it's like there's still somehow this stigma attached to it in some ways of
man,
you know.
And the mad thing about it is, if you meet people like Rapid, Dirty Danger, Slicks, if you meet them and actually have a conversation with these people, they're actually the coolest people in the world of grime. They're actually down to earth people.
Yeah.
You know? And it's mad because when it's like if I'm putting on an event or if someone else is putting on an event in London, and they want to book me, I've got to, it's like, we need your name, date of birth, and we need your address just so we can fill out a form to do some checks. If I'm playing out of London, there's no checks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it's a bit weird, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, jumping ahead with, I guess, the whole Ruff Sqwad thing, like, you ended up coming on board as their official DJ in, like, a few years back?
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I've never actually been a Ruff Sqwad DJ, you know?
Yeah, right. So that's just a little thing that's listed up on Wikipedia or something.
Yeah, no, it is. And do you know what it is, yeah? I became Tinty Strider's DJ.
Right, yeah.
In 2007. And since then, I've been doing work with him, like, closely. And it's like, I don't know, I think people just made up their minds.
That you were, yeah.
I've even seen on Wikipedia, it says, right, the DJ before, DJ Sqwad out, DJ Spyro in. I was never in.
There was never, it's even got some wording about some kind of official induction or whatever, but yeah, no, that's kind of funny. There definitely seems, in terms of the, I guess, producer and DJ circles, there has been a fair bit of a focus on instrumental grime in the last couple of years. Is there anything from where you are that you kind of saw how that trend developed at all?
I think it's the DJs that produced. I think they had enough of the MCs getting the limelight.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be blunt, I think it's because if you can, for instance, like Eskimo dance. Yeah. Have you ever been to one before?
I have definitely never been, but I would love to one day.
You need to, man. You know what? It's like going to Eskimo dance. They can book me. They can book Marcus Nasty. They can book everyone. But in all honesty, anyone that comes, they've come to watch the MCs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if you go Eskimo, it needs to be, if you want to watch MCs, you can go to Eskimo dance. If you want to hear some instrumentals, then because you should come somewhere else, because it's like you could never have a Eskimo dance with just no MCs. It doesn't make no sense.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, it's just making another lane for us DJs and producers, and also it's just like an extra night, isn't it, for people to come out and enjoy themselves.
Coming from, I guess, me, I was first a kind of production and electronic music head, and so I was obviously almost more familiar with like Night Slugs and a lot of those people before a lot of the other like earlier grime instrumental stuff, and I was interested to see that you had a remix on for Bok Bok on Silo Pass.
Man.
And so how did that come about? Like,
I mean, they're on Rinse.
Yeah.
I know Bok Bok quite well, and I heard a tune. I heard Silo Pass, and I was thinking to myself, this tune is absolutely crazy. I love the original.
Yeah.
And you know what? It sounds like no disrespect to Bok Bok, but it sounds like when I hear it, it's just a tune where I wish I made it, and it's kind of sounds like how I would kind of make a tune. Yeah. So I thought to myself, you know what? Let me ask him if it's all right to put my spin on it. So he actually said, yeah, cool. He sent me the parts, and I think once loading all the sounds onto my Logic, I made that tune in about half an hour. I made the layout what I wanted to do in half an hour, because it's something that I was so up for doing, and I just wanted to hear how it sounded. And it wasn't even meant to have a release. It was meant to be a one-off, but then a couple people heard it, and then yeah, man, I think he was asking some people like what they thought of it, and they was like saying yeah. And then I had people like Terra Danger, Skilliam from Butters say that tune was the track of the year when it came out. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? I didn't even think of it as that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
So if a track that took 30 minutes to make was now be the track of the year, I couldn't get my head around that at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, most def. And so I guess from those guys, I definitely saw almost an influence of like the grime sound palette in like a whole lot of other scenes and things like that. To kind of more extremes more recently even. And one of the things that actually really, really opened my eyes was for the first time I heard a couple of the bass or Devils mixes, and they sounded like the most futuristic thing I've ever heard. Like just in terms of like being on par with what a lot of producers and stuff are doing at the moment. And so I was curious from like someone that was there when those mixes were coming out. Was it ever seen as something more than just like a DJ tool, or
I think before, when it first come out, it was just like having an exclusive.
Yeah.
And then it's like, maybe someone the DJ would have it, and then like Maximum or something, or Carnage or whoever. And then they probably just thought, okay, this could make an extra bit of cash.
Yeah.
So I think that's how they saw it. But I know in the beginning, it's just like anything else, isn't it, man? It's just you just test it out, see what people like, and if they like it, then sell it.
Yeah. No, totally.
I saw Skepta say something so important the other day, and he said that when Kanye West's album came out, he's got a tune called New Slaves, and that is basically what Wiley was doing back in whenever.
Yeah.
It's so true. When I listen back to it, he's got no drums, he's got he's got dirty bass, and someone's rapping over it.
That's so true. I hadn't actually made that kind of connection either, but that is really, really
He
true.
actually wrote Kanye West, and some Americans are listening to you, Wiley, because you was doing devil mixes years ago.
Yeah.
He actually tweeted that. And I thought, you know what, that is crazy, man.
Yeah.
They just caught onto it now.
Obviously, the fact that you're, talking to different grime MCs and producers all the time, are there any specific standouts for you at the moment that you think are going to blow up in the next year or so?
One person who I want you to do some research on if you haven't already, and that is Novelist.
Yeah, I do know of, but I should definitely teach myself more.
Please. This guy is something else. He's just done a tune with Mum Dance, and man, he is someone, and he's young. He's just turned 17.
Yeah, right. All right.
So because he's such a young blood, he's got a long way to go, and everyone's trying to catch the beginning of the journey. They don't want to find out the journey 2 or 3 years in. They want to catch it while it's, do you know?
Yeah.
So please, man, just look out for Novelist. He's going to be someone in the future.
Yeah. No, I definitely will. Thank you again so much. I'll let you get on with your day.
Wicked, man. Cool, man. Thanks for having me, man.
All good. Anytime.
Yeah, buff gaddy on the road, then I draw that big bumper. Went ham when I saw that. There was not a beef on the banger, and I bore that. Draw that. See a buff gaddy on the road, then I draw that big bumper. Went ham when I saw that. There was not a beef on the banger, and I
So good, the kind of labels that curate stuff to a real specific kind of aesthetic. I think that's one of my favorite things. It's like I'm not just focusing on grime. It's like I'm focusing on icy future.
It's an interesting point, right? Like then I mean, this kind of came into the discussion when Adam Harper was talking about the idea of like the creator, the artist has been redefined in the Vaporwave show.
Yeah,
He's talking
yeah.
about like, oh, now all you need to be an artist is like a curator.
Exactly.
If you curate a bunch of tracks into a DJ set or whatever, or you speed up a track 200%, then that makes you like an artist. You're doing something. It's I can definitely see the pitch of like, well, the role of the record owner, the label owner, and now more than ever has been like, very, really important. And people like forging out a sound and being like, it kind of like legitimizes a whole movement. If they can cherry pick like a couple of tracks or a couple of artists that are doing a similar kind of thing, all of a sudden it's like, hang on, this could be actually a thing.
Definitely.
Bigger than itself.
And
which,
there's
very cool.
Yeah,
Glacial Sounds do that well.
There seems to be a bunch of different labels kind of doing that stuff, and I mean the release that Strict Faces out on Gobstopper Records, that's run, like a lot of these labels are actually run by artists as well. So Gobstopper's run by Mr. Mitch, who's like a grime artist as well, who writes some amazing stuff. I might actually play one of his tracks now just to give, like, he actually released, after the whole War Dubs thing was happening, he released a bunch of things that he was calling peace dubs. And like, I don't know, it's still grime, but somehow he makes the most like chill and like nice feeling grime.
Wow, I'm into
like,
that.
Yeah.
You know that I always want the Enya version of everything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's Mr. Mitch. He's pretty much Enya grime. And he still has those massive kicks, just so you know it's still grime.
Still grime, guys. Any gun cocks at all? No glass smashing?
Peace,
Nothing?
mate.
Peace, okay.
So yeah, this is a track called The Man Waits from The Room Where I Belong, which is a new Mr. Mitch release.
me. Hit me. Hit me. Ha. Hit me. Hit me. Ha. Hit me. Hit me.
Hit me. Yeah,
there's a good amount of SFX.
Again, another good use of vocal samples, just scattered here and there. But I was just saying off air that on the SoundCloud comments for that track, someone said you should use more random sound effects. To which he actually replied and just gave it a bit of a lol. So
cheeky lol.
Fair play to that person that made that comment, because
nailed it, mate. You got his number. You got his number.
But yeah, that was Bloom with a track called Juniper, who's one of those other ones that's out of so many of these artists that I've been playing, like really only been releasing kind of stuff that's kind of came to people's attention in the last year or two. And yeah, there's so many of those out there that I'm really hoping that there's enough space in it that it stays interesting.
I don't want to be that guy, but there's not much going on.
No.
Like, there's not much going on.
It's true. And there's only so many of those tracks that you can hear.
Yeah.
And yeah, the first few people that do it, it's awesome.
It was funny, like, we're also saying before the start of the episode, it's like, who is going to have the guts to play a set of all just like future grime instrumentals first? Who's doing that, Because I feel like dubstep's too fresh in people's memories, and like the uneducated, unwashed masses might just think that it's dubstep.
Yeah, and well, I mean, the whole thing is like the grime scene still kind of exists, and people are still out there playing grime DJ sets, and there's the grime
totally, yeah. I mean, God, I say that like localized to our context, but yeah. I mean, exactly. Shit, who's going to be the first guy? Oh, probably like all of London.
Yeah. No, but there is even like I guess it's that whole thing of, I feel like coming onto this now, I do feel like a bit of a grime, how cool is it, when I know there's guys, like, even though it's only small scenes in various areas, but there's guys that have been like repping this stuff and listening to it.
Oh yeah, non-stop since its inception.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like they are definitely repping even this future kind of style of it. And yeah, but I think as a single aesthetic, people jumping onto the kind of, I hope that really I feel like it's just part of the wider future club music.
You know what's funny? I reckon, like, thinking about this, I can't remember when the UK had like a popular global dance movement. I mean, even though it's like, bubble hashtag genre popular at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, there was fairly dark.
Yeah.
Like breaks kind of did a bit of it, and then drum and bass, obviously, and then like since then, it's all been fairly upbeat and lighthearted and stuff.
like I mean, the stuff that broke through for grime was all the more lighthearted stuff.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the darker stuff captured my imagination.
Yeah, well,
but
that's definitely
the breakthrough stuff. Definitely,
the stuff that broke through on an international popular scale was all of that stuff. So yeah, it will be interesting if producers.
Well, I think what's capturing the minds of producers at the moment about that grime style surely must be that dark tip.
Yeah,
that
definitely,
minimal future beat kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
That is where, and actually, we will round off the show with a track from a US producer called SD Leica, who is. Yeah, it's released on Triangle Records. Their first release was actually on Lost Codes, which is Visionist's label. And so he is considered a grime producer in many ways, but in every other aspect, he's just like a weird future noise guy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess it's kind of cool, like someone like Triangle Records picking up on at least elements of that grime aesthetic. And you hear elements of it in his stuff, but it's also just so far left field.
Which is, if you had told me, like when Bilal Makab was throwing his triangle up in the air and all that stuff, like he'd eventually start booking grime influenced stuff, I would have told you no way. That would have been like 6 months ago.
Yeah, well, and see, that's it. Triangle is so good at kind of picking really specific, like album releases that are albums in their own conception, like the Aluna George stuff and all the Witch House stuff. Like, I mean, I hate to say it, but for me, this SD Leica stuff is kind of like some esoteric witch housey grime.
Yeah,
like if the guy ever listens to this,
labels,
he'll probably shoot me. And
yeah,
like,
fair enough.
You guy.
Yes, so I've got my own fucking sound in it. But but like, you know, that's obviously a curational choice on behalf of the label. They're trying to keep
the most dark
sound.
I mean, this is the most devil mix, I think. Basically, if we want to put it in any way,
awesome.
It's pretty fair.
Send us your devil's mixes.
Yeah.
Locked
and
bag.
if you definitely know where the Esky click comes from as well.
Oh yeah, tell us.
Up.
Korg
at Genre Cold.
Korg, you fucking
on
dickhead.
Twitter.
There's a Triton, you dickhead. Jesus.
All right. We'll see you in a month.
Yeah. Don't even know what we're doing next time, but we never do.
We never do.
No.
We've got a couple of weeks to work it out.
Genre Cold.